you so much for joining us on CBS 8 Plus. I'm Heather Myers. Here at CBS 8, we are working for you, getting to the bottom of some of the problems that you've asked about and looking for solutions. We start with a warning for dog owners. We have now entered into what's known as foxtail season. San Diego vet clinics and animal hospitals are busy removing foxtails from dogs. And for those who don't know, it can be a painful and pricey visit. CBS 8's Anna Laurel shows us why the weed is so harmful for your dog.
These weeds that are growing everywhere right now are drying out and turning into little needles that can harm, even kill your pet. 3-year-old Joey and his nose.
It just can happen so quickly.
Seem just fine today. Earlier this week, his mom and CBS 8 producer Gina Bertuzzi had to take him to her local animal hospital.
So when he sneezed on Monday afternoon, we saw some blood come out.
Over the weekend, Joey stuck his head in these foxtails. By Tuesday, he was in surgery.
They put him under anesthesia and went in to his nose and got it out.
This is the foxtail that was lodged in little Joey's nose.
They looked into the nose with a magnifying glass, and that's how they found it.
If left untreated, foxtails can really do some damage.
It can embed into vital organs, it can go into their lungs, into the brain.
Shirley DeVera Caldwell works at San Carlos Animal Hospital. She says this year they're seeing more foxtail cases than ever.
If this foxtail embeds in the skin and gets lodged in there, causing an infection, it can turn into an abscess.
If you start looking, you'll see foxtails everywhere. They're in parks and along sidewalks and trails. They have barbed ends and can burrow into an animal's skin.
These little spines of the foxtails can embed between their toes. A dog can inhale it. A dog can get it in their ears, in their nasal tracts.
What are the symptoms?
Any licking between the toes, licking in their fur, especially if the dogs are very furry or have a thick coat. Or if they're limping. If they're limping, you may catch it in time before it causes an abscess. Head shaking or sneezing, which can also lead to sneezing blood.
Which is exactly what tipped off Gina.
That really could have done some major damage if we didn't call the vet in time.
But she did, and thankfully, nearly $500 later, little Joey is happy and healthy again.
But he seems to be back to his usual self today. You doing good, Joe?
In San Carlos, this is Anna Laurel for CBS 8.
Definitely got his energy back. All right, Joey. There is no question that more housing is needed in San Diego. However, a homeowner in Normal Heights says the project going up next door to his house is definitely not the answer. He believes he approved a serious fire danger that's just inches away from his home. CBS 8's Steve Price is working for you today to take a closer look at his concerns.
How can this possibly be legal? There are just 17.5 inches between Charles Brock's chimney and the ADU being built next door. Charles turned to the city for help, but they said this is permitted. When Charles first saw construction starting next door, he didn't give it much thought.
They tore down the garage that had been there. I was like, she's doing something. None of my business.
Then he got a call from the contractor that a fence he thought was on the property line was actually off by more than a foot and was coming down. His neighbor planned to build a new ADU right up to the new line.
It's very upsetting, let there be no mistake. My wife and I have lost countless hours of sleep for the last year.
Working for you, we discovered that current codes wouldn't allow this to happen. Two-story ADUs now have to have at least a 4-foot side yard setback, but the permit for this construction was submitted before that went into effect, making it legal. That said, there's another problem, and it surrounds Charles's chimney.
The code says that a chimney has to be 2 feet above any structure within 10 feet.
Clearly, his chimney is below the new structure and nowhere close to 10 feet away. The city acknowledges this new structure violates that code, but a senior structural engineer said as long as they covered the exterior with 7/8 inch stucco, it would classify the wall as 1 hour fire resistive. And for the proposed construction, that is satisfactory and code compliant. But Charles says he's worried his next wood-burning fire will cause both homes to catch fire.
I don't object to her building an ADU. I just object to her building an ADU that imposes upon me a risk of continuing to enjoy my home the way that I had intended.
So what can you do to protect yourself from a similar situation? As soon as you notice construction in your neighborhood, take a look at the building permits on the city's Development Services Department website. And if there is no permit, report it to the city's Building and Land Use Division. We posted links to both websites in this story on our website. Working for you, Steve Price, CBS 8.
Wow. The debate on Diamond Street in Pacific Beach is heating up over a new traffic calming measure. You might remember a previous effort here called the Slow Street Concept. It closed down the street to all through traffic. Our Brian White is working for you in Pacific Beach with what the city's looking to do there now.
I'm on Diamond and I just pulled up to the cross street of Cass. Now right here in front of me is where a row of bollards is going to be, which would give me one option, just to make a right-hand turn.
Diamond's being singled out. We have no idea why. We do not need it. We do not want it.
Some neighbors are pushing back on this idea while others are embracing it.
From a public safety standpoint, there can be absolutely no argument against something like this.
A little back history. During the pandemic, the city turned Diamond into a slow street, closing it off to through traffic, making more safe space for walking, biking, and other ways of getting around. After a couple of years, the street was opened up again to cars in January, but soon the city is going to install another version of this with these bollards at two major intersections, Diamond and Cass and at Diamond and Faneuil.
Cars would have to go right turn only, and then to get that way, they'd have to go around the block. We weren't warned, we weren't asked, we weren't told.
While some people living on Diamond are obviously upset, others living here are looking forward to it.
I wouldn't be inconvenienced by it. I think that if it improves any safety, I mean, just having them there is going to get people's attention, I would think, and so people might go slower, at least initially.
When the new bollards are installed this summer, drivers will be diverted to other adjacent side streets like Missouri and Emerald, which is another issue.
I don't want to have more traffic on my street when we're doing stuff with our kids. So it's great. Diamond Street's getting less traffic, but it's not cool to put it over to our street.
I reached out to the city's transportation department about concerns over emergency vehicle access, and they tell me they've coordinated with the city's fire department on this. And as far as the rules on community input, they say city staff can install traffic calming devices at their own discretion.
This has been done the wrong way from day one, and it's still being done the wrong way.
I talked with a number of people on both sides, and while there is a lot of pushback, there's also plenty of support.
There's a lot of people here who live in the community who love to get around by either walking or biking or skateboarding, anything besides driving. So I think it'd be a great access point for us to get from, more East PB down to the beach.
In Pacific Beach, working for you, Brian White, CBS 8.
Well, here's a working for you update on a deteriorated and dangerous eyesore in La Jolla. We first told you about a busted railing last month when we saw someone post about it on Instagram. We contacted the city of San Diego and we're told it doesn't have the money nor the manpower to fix it right now. However, Councilman Joe LaCava's office told us the city is considering a private partnership to fix the entire fence. While the city's transportation department reviews that request, the La Jolla Parks and Beaches Incorporated managed to coordinate with the city to get most of the damage and dangerous section repaired. This came after a story by our Anna Laurel.
Hi Anna, so we got the fence replaced. They did a couple of days ago. Anyway, thank you again for coming and for giving us some attention. It's done.
And it looks so much better, doesn't it? Remember, we are working for you. If there was something that you would like us to look into, just email us, workingforyou@cbs8.com. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.